Rahul Ishwar, spokesperson of the Sabrimala Tantri family, Father Dominic Emmanuel is joining us from Delhi, director of the Delhi Catholic Archdiocese, Nitin Karani, editor of Bombay Dost, and Bachi Karkaria. My first question is to you. Do you buy the minister's explanation now?
No, I most certainly don't. I think it's just a shameless cover-up. You could hear him on camera, you could hear him on tape. How can he say it's a cover-up?
I didn't use the word gay.
Whether he said gay or not, he used MSM. And okay, gay is a political terminology, but MSM covers homosexuality, which is what we are talking about, men having sex with men. And I want to make this point, Arnab, and that is that, you know, India is home to the largest number of maternal mortality cases. We have 25% of the world's unimmunized children. We have the world's highest incidence of TB.
And he's the health minister.
We have the highest incidence of cervical cancer. But no wonder, because the health minister is busy trying to find a cure for homosexuality, which he thinks is a disease.
Is that an overstatement, Rahul Ishwar, coming from Bachi Karkaria tonight?
I believe there are two kinds of stigmas that are associated with homosexuality. One is, he is a homosexual. The second thing, he is anti-homosexual. I think both are a bit overrated. Both are a bit exaggerated reaction. 100 years back, it may have been a crime to talk about sex. But 100 years later, it is a crime to talk against sex. Our society has evolved, it has changed. We should understand the changing times. But I believe one should not be crucified just because he had an opinion about something he had. I know my opinion goes with the sexual minority, as they call it, sexual minority. I'm not against them, I have no disrespect for them. But when people air their opinion, they should not be so touchy and should not be so sensitive. So it should be a more free, healthy debate. And if we take a dispassionate and scientific view, the scientific community is yet to come to a decisive conclusion whether this is a norm, whether this is an aberration, whether this is perfectly ordered, whether this is any deviation. So we should not make it such a touchy issue saying that I am no fan of Ghulam Nabi Azad, but we should not put him on the nail, we should not put him on the cross for such a statement.
Okay, he's being crucified. Nitin Karani and Bachi are both responding to you. Father Dominic Emmanuel, I'm going to come to you. Go ahead. Importantly, Rahul Ishwar uses the word Ghulam Nabi Azad is being crucified, he says.
I think he rightly deserves to be crucified. I mean, he's the health minister of India. He's not some, ordinary politician even.
So it's not a you got his you got his
the health minister. He's talking rubbish. He's talking unscientific, irrational, stupid statements.
He says I'm not using the word gay. I asked Bachi that as well. He said I'm not using the word gay.
You know, in Arnab, he's going against all the work that his own ministry has done, his own health department has done, all the work that NACO has done in the past several years. You know, NACO's drive, that is the National AIDS Control Organization, NACO's drive has been at targeted interventions for MSMs, even more than they have had for sex workers, because they've really taken that as a group and they've done immense progress. They've had immense progress in both targeted interventions and reducing stigma.
So the debate is around, the kind of comment. Father Dominic Emmanuel, Ghulam Nabi Azad says it's unnatural. Baba Ramdev says homosexuality is the result of a sick mind. You're seeing the strong reactions that are coming today. Where do you stand?
See, I am not here to defend Ghulam Nabi Azad, but Ghulam Nabi Azad was speaking in a context of HIV AIDS. He was addressing the panchayats and representatives of the panchayats on the issue of HIV AIDS. And just now Bachi Karkaria has rightly said that NACO has made great progress. They were not so concerned about sex workers, but they were more concerned about this MSM. And that is precisely what I have held, or what the church holds, that this kind of decriminalization that the media went gaga over actually will promote more cases of HIV AIDS. And if you take it in that context, I think maybe he is either misquoted. Of course, I personally do not believe that it is a disease. All right, maybe he is misquoted, misunderstood, or he wanted to say something and something else was said. But certainly, it is not a disease. I do not agree with Baba Ramdev either, that it can be cured by yoga. The stand of the church has always been that we accept people and we treat people with these tendencies with compassion, with respect, and it clearly instructs people that there should be no indication of any discrimination against them.
No,
But having said that, the church does hold that this is
this
a
is a-
disorder or this is a deviant behavior.
No, but-
now that is a belief based on the principle that it is, as also
No, but you
Ghulam
see,
Nabi Azad has
Father
said,
Emmanuel-
that this is not natural.
Father Emmanuel,
Yes.
with all respect, you see, look at the
Yes.
unilinear logic of Ghulam Nabi Azad. He has unilinear logic. His logic is fight AIDS, fight homosexuality. Cure AIDS, cure homosexuality. He is making a direct link between the two. That's the point.
But what
Officially, he is
statistics
making that
actually
link.
show. The statistically also it has been proved. Of course, you cannot immediately compare it with the heterosexual spread of HIV/AIDS with heterosexual relationships, but statistically it is true that
Bachi.
HIV/AIDS spreads more faster with MSM.
No, so
that's a fact.
you are saying, Bachi, that's the point. Unilinear logic tonight, Ghulam Nabi Azad.
No, I
You
look,
cure, you fight homosexuality, you will fight AIDS.
exactly. I think that I'm very pleased to hear Father speaks in such tolerant terms about homosexuality. It's very gratifying. It's quite different from what I've been hearing in all the work that I've been doing with AIDS in the past. But the point is that, I don't want to get into a clinical discussion on how the HIV virus is spread, all right? Whether it's spread faster through homosexuality or faster through heterosexual behavior. If the father likes, I will give him a private tutorial on the subject. I don't want to do it on national television. But the point is that is not what we are discussing. We are not discussing it. We are discussing whether a man who holds the health portfolio
That's true.
can make a mistake like that. Later on, I believe he even said that I was not referring to homosexuality, I was referring to HIV. Now,
Yes, he
that's
said.
another cover-up of the worst kind. And even HIV is the virus, it's not the disease. It leads to opportunistic infections, which is known as the AIDS syndrome.
No, so question is, Rahul, in your initial comments, you seemed so taken with your own position on anti-homosexuals or for homosexuals, you did not address the main issue of Ghulam Nabi Azad. Should a health minister make that logic? I have to fight HIV, so I have to fight homosexuals. That seems to be the inference if you hear his first comment, which is now clarifying, of course.
And Arnav, sorry.
Yeah, as a health minister, he could have avoided those statements. There is no doubt. I don't think anybody will buy his arguments plainly, but I believe, but we should understand on a large scale, on a larger picture, there are many people who are having unease with the topic of homosexuality. I am not saying all the people who are homosexual should cater to the sensitivities of the other sexual majority, but we should understand there is a crowd out in public, there is a majority of people who have, if I can use the word straight orientation, they are having like this, so they are having some kind of unease with sexual minority. We should I believe those people who belong to this category should understand there is a dominant thought out there. I am not saying they should follow prey to it, they should totally be subjugated. But there is another point of view.
No, are you intolerant?
What about the rights of...
No, he's saying, Rahul Ishwar is saying your response to Ghulam Nabi Azad's views reflects some intolerance that you have towards people who are straight.
No, I'm responding to his intolerance. What about the young kid who's struggling with his sexual orientation, who wants to come out, who's going through so much stress, and who could react in any way? We don't know what happens. So what about them? I mean, he's talking about compassion, the father. What about some respect for a change?
Okay, fine. Last point, Bachi.
Absolutely, there is always a respect, and we have always held that we would like to reach out to you, we would like to journey with you,
we don't
as we journey with many other people. And that has always been the position of the church.
Father, with all respect, I think Nitin thinks you're being patronizing.
Totally.
Rahul, 2 points.
Father Nitin seems to feel that you're being patronizing.
Yeah, because you always think that the church is condemning it. The church is
But
only
that's what
making
you're
a
doing.
clarification. It is not patronizing at all. I am always called on these programs because you think that the church is there to bash them up on this issue because we hold very conservative views. No, I am making it very clear that while there is a position the church believes in a biological process, it does very, very clearly state that they have to be dealt with great respect, compassion, and understanding. Now, if you think that is patronizing, then either you stop thinking that the church is always against these people, or listen to what the statement of the church is.
Well, if the church just shuts up, it will be better.
No, I think there we want to draw a line there, because at the end of the day, sensitivities. I think Nitin, I think you have strong views, but I think it is important to retract that comment that you just made about the church, because we certainly don't want to broad base the argument to a point where we just take positions for or against the church.
Why is religion brought up in this debate every time anyway? Let's talk about science. I mean, what scientific basis is there for the minister's view?
No, let everyone have their views.
Which textbook says that it is unnatural? Point
taken. But you can't just lambast the church or any faith for that matter. And I'm just making a clarification.
My problem is really with Rahul's statements, and I want to contest both of them. One is that where he says that people are uncomfortable, etc., etc., and whether we are talking with the whole AIDS fight that has been happening, the important thing has been not to fight the people but to fight the disease. So you talk about the disease, don't start stigmatizing the people who have it. You have to make them part of the solution. You don't have to keep treating the people with the disease or the syndrome as part of the problem. Secondly, I couldn't understand his logic when he says the majority sexual orientation has a problem with the minority. If the majority community in other areas has a problem with the minority community in other areas, they will not go and brand them as being diseased, right? So this logic is completely...
I will let Rahul respond quickly. I think Rahul did make a reference to the majority minority about 20 times.
I have never termed it a disease. I said some people may be having an unease, and I categorically say this sexual minority need not be subjugated or need be silent. But you should understand that there is a counterpoint of view, and I expect tolerance from both parties, whether they are sexual majority or sexual minority. Both should be sensitive and both should understand each other.
Well, I think even Ghulam Nabi Azad will say tonight, mistake or not, faux pas or not, show me some tolerance as well. However, tonight he has landed himself in a soup. It's not the first time Mr. Azad, otherwise an extremely astute politician, he saved the government on a number of occasions as Parliamentary Affairs Minister. One wonders what happened, maybe a moment of indiscretion out there. Maybe it reflected something. Mr. Azad, we'd love it if you come on the News Hour tonight. Thank you very much. Let there be all points of view. Let there be debate. And let there be news. We will be back tomorrow 9 p.m. Till then, good night and goodbye.